SEO best practices. Hi, my name is Eric Lantras, and today we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes that people make with SEO. I'm going to show you some best practices. I'm going to help you grow your website and make more money with SEO. So I hope you're excited. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to be talking about some of the recent questions I've received about doing SEO, especially with all the latest updates happening. There's a lot of fluctuations, and people are wondering, are things still working? Like, are some link building techniques still working? Are some on-page changes? Like, what are you supposed to do these days? So I'm going to take a whole bunch of questions, put them all together, and answer them rapid fire, so I can kind of give you an update to your Google or an SEO toolbox. So let's dive into a few questions. Here's the first one. First one is actually on spammy link building. Does GSA or other types of spammy links, a bunch of different tools, still work? Now, the answer is kind of. They've been severely impacted. Actually, Google, I'm going to say, is kind of seems to be winning the war on these big automated tools. I don't recommend any of these big automated tools that go out and builds hundreds and even thousands and hundreds of thousands of links. It seems as if spam is kind of on the decline, even though people are still trying left and right, and there is still some things getting through. So it can still work in some instances. It's not uncommon to see some spam results, and it's not uncommon to see some results with with tools. However, what you'll tend to see is tools work in very low competition areas as opposed to very high competition areas where Google is really looking for authority and high authority links much more than thousands of spammy links. So I wouldn't recommend it. There are better ways of doing SEO. There are more efficient ways of doing SEO. So try to avoid those tools that just promise instant rankings and they're going to build thousands and thousands of links. All right. The next question I've gotten recently was about press release services and what are the types of press releases should I do, if any? Well, press releases definitely have their place. They have their time and their place. My favorite types of press releases. Now, there's two types of press releases you could do. You could do the press release where you just do a press release for the sake of doing a press release. And you could also do a press release to be picked up by journalists. Now, the press release just to do a press release, that has its time and its place. And I won't cover that right now. However, what a lot of people don't realize is that you could actually get a lot of benefit by being picked up by real journalists. Journalists use press releases to determine or to learn about what's new in the industry. So if you write a new press release, let's say you're announcing a world first. For instance, we once we built a crazy computer for an e-commerce store that was in selling gaming computers, and we built an over-the-top computer. I think it was close to a $10,000 computer that was just bonkers at the time. And then we put out a press release about it. What happened is, because this was actually newsworthy, it was something that actually interested people, and it got a lot of attention. Our press release was picked up by many magazines and publications from around the web, and just in that one instance, it received tons and tons and tons of high authority links that still power that same website 4 years down the road. So some of the best press releases you can do are the ones that are actually newsworthy and that will actually get picked up by journalists. Now, there's the other types of press release where you just put out a press release for the sake of putting out a press release. And that could definitely have its time and place too. However, if you're just wondering on a standalone basis, should I do a press release or not? Is it going to magically make all my SEO skyrocket? I'm going to say that if you're just thinking of a press release in an isolated environment, the best press releases to do are going to be the ones that are going to get picked up by journalists, and then your content is going to be featured on magazines and newspapers all around the world. So that's the best one you could do. And so I hope that kind of answers the press release question. So, link building strategy. What's the best way to build cheap links? Now, before I even start answering this, you don't necessarily want cheap links. If I had the choice between getting 100 cheap links and one really good link, I would go with the one really good link. You definitely don't, more is not necessarily better. Yes, if you have two really good links, it's better than one really good link, obviously. However, most people confuse it, and they just go out and they get a whole bunch of cheap links, and they never ever bother to get a good link. You need the good links to rank. Good links is what Google rewards much more than just cheap links. All right. Now that that's out of the way, the best way to get the cheaper links, or even links for free, is to sign up to the newest contributor site. So a bunch of sites are starting to roll out contributor platforms, or they're allowing the public or enthusiasts in their community to start submitting guest posts. Now, guest posting has been around for a long time. Google said they liked it at one point, and then they said it didn't like it, and back and forth and back and forth. But the truth is guest posts or posts, they still work to produce rankings. So I think the latest saying from Google is that they were cracking down on fake guest posts, and they don't want those. However, if you're actually doing a real legitimate guest post and you sign up and you apply to a site that allows contributors, those are typically going to be the best links that you could get, and you could get them for free just by signing up and posting there. So that really is going to be my best cheap link that I could offer to people. Find places in your industry that allow contributors, or even if it's not publicly advertised that they allow contributors, ask the webmaster. Say, hey, can I submit a post to your website? Like, can I share something here? I really like this. What would it take for me to be a contributor or semi-regular contributor on your website? All right. So that's going to be the best link building strategy right now. In terms of traffic loss, what happens if I get de-indexed or I lose rankings? Well, there are many reasons why someone could get de-indexed and lose rankings, but the two main factors right now are going to be link location and on-page quality. Those are going to be your two big branches of SEO, and typically when you will get de-indexed or notice a severe drop in rankings, it's because one or the other went wrong. If you have a lot of links and they are in bad locations, meaning they're coming from shady networks, they're coming from shady places, or they're coming from places that Google previously thought they were okay, and now there's been a Google update and Google's now decided that, oh, well, we don't like this link source anymore, then that could affect you. So if a website was linking out to 10 places and now that website is no longer considered a good website, those 10 places will not get the benefit that they were previously getting. So you won't necessarily get penalized, but you won't get the benefit that you were experiencing maybe a few days or a few weeks or a few months ago. So that's going to be really number one. You always want to make sure whenever you experience a traffic loss, check your links. Does Google still reward the same links that you have? So even if you've had a link for 10 years, maybe now it doesn't reward it as much as it did 10 years ago. That could play an impact on your links, on your rankings. The next thing is going to be on-page quality. Recently, Google's had a few updates where they've tweaked their preferences in terms of on-page quality. They're looking at ads. They're making sure content isn't too low below the fold. And if Google has an update and now they determine that all your content is no longer up to their quality standard, you're going to suffer a major drop in rankings and sometimes even get de-indexed if they find a lot of duplicate content or thin content on your site. So those are really going to be your two big levers, and most of the time whenever you suffer from Google drops or de-indexing, it's going to be in one of these two buckets. Now I do have a bonus for you. This actually has to do with a very recent Google updates, is that you want to make sure that your content is unique. And now, before, I'm not just talking about spun content. I want your content to be completely unique. I want you to present a brand new point of view. If you're just regurgitating, rewriting, or just copy pasting, or just basically providing the same information as someone else, it's not as valuable as if you produced something completely unique yourself. So if you're just regurgitating content, you have writers that just take content from one place, rewrite it so it's quote unquote unique, and put it on your website. This is going to be a tactic that Google is slowly cracking down on, and it's not being rewarded as much as it was in the past. So curated content and content that's basically just copy pasted from different places is not going to be performing as well as if you have completely original thoughts and new perspectives that you bring to the forefront. So that's going to be kind of my bonus tip in terms of content, especially with all the latest updates that are happening. All right, moving on. Making money cycle. Always people asking me about how to make more money with SEO. Now, my main answer, the thing is like SEO is just a tool. So people don't ask, how can I make money with a hammer? I mean, I hope they don't. But you have to think of SEO as a tool And in terms of business, in terms of making money online and so forth, you want to figure out how to make the most out of your pages and website, and then use SEO as a tool to drive traffic, to drive visitors to those pages on your website. So I usually don't start with SEO. Usually SEO is going to be my methodology. It's going to be a tool that I use, but it won't necessarily be the whole mechanism. So here, I'm actually going to go through a cycle where you could actually build up a website with SEO and increase traffic and basically perpetuate the cycle. So let's take a look at it. This is a way I describe I'm making money, kind of using SEO as a main tool. So what I typically will do is I have a budget, I have a site size, and I have, let's say, links. And we're going to just talk about, these are all going to be, let's assume these are all high quality links, right? What I will typically do is I will start by myself, right? Like you can start by yourself, you have zero expenses, you build one page on your website. You get one really, really good page on your website, and you go out, and then after you have that one really good page, you go out and you build 5 really good high quality links. You contact webmasters, you maybe contribute to a site and so forth. And then you get 5 really good links that power up this one page, and that should give you a certain amount of traffic per month. So let's say after 30 days, you make $100 profit. Now, I can't determine how much profit you're going to make. It depends on the page that you create, what you're promoting, and so forth. But let's say you make $100 per month. Then what you do, using SEO as a tool, as a main driving force, is you reinvest that $100 that you make. You don't just go out and spend it. You don't cash out. You don't say, oh, that's awesome, I'm just going to make another page. You reinvest that $100 that you make. And then what you could do is you could actually afford to buy help and pay for help. So you could afford to pay for help, and it'll give you more leverage in terms of getting links. So what you could do is you could build 2 new pages. So you build an extra page yourself, and you get a helper to write a page themselves. So this means that your website is now going to have a total of 3 pages, whereas you had 1 page in the first month. And on top of that, you get your helper to help you create 5 extra links, and then you create 5 extra links yourself. So basically you invest that $100 into a helper that's going to help you grow the site. So if we add this $100, now we scale it to $300. And you can see now how that would scale. Take the $300 profit and reinvest it into more content. So now you could afford for more content. You get 6 new pages, and you could also build 30 new high quality links. Now you can see how this could quickly scale, where now you have 9 pages on the total website has 9 pages, and you have 45 high quality links. Now, so far, you've never taken a paycheck. You've never taken any money home, but now the website is making $900. So at this point, you could be like, oh, $900 a month. That's pretty cool. Let me just put that in my pocket and have a little bonus cash. But no, you don't stop there. You take that $900 profit, you reinvest it, and now you basically get 18 new pages, and you get yourself 90 new links that you created using the same methodology that you've created. Now, these numbers might start to get skewed. You might not get 90 new links for $900 and so forth, but this is the general idea where you take some of the profits that you make and then you reinvest it to grow and grow and grow. And if your methodology is working, if you could put out high quality pages, get yourself some good links and power them up, this will be able to provide the cycle where now you're making $2,800 a month. And this is how you basically grow a website from scratch, and you kind of grow it as quickly as possible, reinvesting the profits into content and links. So if we were to continue the cycle, and I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, but after 8 months, reinvesting at the same rate, you would basically be at $226,000 profit and $800. This is absolutely insane, and your site would have over 2,000 pages. So you can see how just reinvesting your profits, making your site grow over and over and over again, in 8 short months, you get to a ridiculous amount. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen exactly like this. People that you don't grow sites exponentially all the time. However, this is the main concept, and if you could do even 1/10 of this, you're going to have amazing success. All right, so moving on, I'm going to try to wrap it up here. We're going to go over some recommended SEO tools. I really get this question a lot. Majestic, Moz, Ahrefs. or even SEMrush, which one's the best? My personal preference, I don't have any, like they're all good in their own respective ways, but my personal preference is Ahrefs. I find they crawl more links, they're faster, they have a ton of great features, and they just keep on producing the most accurate results, in my opinion. So it seems as if everyone else is kind of falling behind. I really like Ahrefs as my main SEO tool. However, who knows? In a few years, in a year, I'm up for doing another comparison and putting them up against each other. However, for now, I use Ahrefs daily, and I really can't see any faults with it. So really good job, Ahrefs. And by the way, it's not sponsored by Ahrefs. There's no links here. All right. Another question I get a lot is gonna be, I'm stuck on page 2. What do I do? So if you're listening stuck on page 2, 3, or 4, what I typically recommend people do is go back to the basics. A lot of times they get into like looking for really complicated things, and I always go back to the basics. Like, are your pages good? Do you meet the minimum high quality requirements by Google? Does Google land on your page and is there a bunch of advertisement, or do you actually have really good text? Like, is the text original or is it copied? Does it, how many words are there? Like, I try to aim for a minimum of 850 words to, let's say, 2,000 or so. That's going to be my sweet spot. Now, you won't get penalized if you have less. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you want to rank really well, that's going to kind of be a sweet spot that you want to hit. Do you have backlinks? Are your backlinks high quality or not? Or you have like cheap backlinks? If you don't have high quality backlinks, maybe that's the issue. So they're going to be the first things I always look at whenever people are stuck on page 2. Typically, it's going to be in one of these two categories. In fact, recently, the last person that actually asked this to say, hey, my listing is just stuck on page 2. I can't get it out of there. I looked, he had 0 backlinks. No kidding. Build a backlink. You'll be good. All right. Now, if you are meeting those requirements, you're for, let's say, a competitive term, then I start to look into things like link velocity, bad site metrics. Maybe your site has like a soft penalty because overall you have too much thin content or duplicate content. There could be issues with the site. You could have issues with broken links. You can have crawling issues. You can have broken code. There's a lot of other like secondary factors. And finally, you might actually just have a direct penalty. So definitely check in your Webmaster Tools to see if you have a penalty there. So that's kind of going to be my quick diagnostic of like, why is your page not ranking the way it should rank? So hopefully that will help anyone that's kind of wondering the same question. And I think this is one of the last ones. E-commerce SEO. Why won't my e-commerce store or affiliate store site increase in traffic? So the biggest problem I see with most people trying to just get a lot more traffic is they try to increase site-wide traffic, and that rarely works. Instead, what I really recommend you do is you start with one page as a focus and then you scale from there. So if you want, instead of trying to increase traffic to the entire site at the same time, focus on one page. Most of the time what's going to happen is that one page is going to start getting high authority links, you're going to have high authority content, you're going to get a lot of visitors at that page, and then you're going to get a lot of authority links, and Google's going to reward your entire site based on that one page. And it kind of goes from there, where you go from one page, one really high quality page, and you build a second really high quality page and a third really high quality page, and you go at page by page instead of just looking at your whole site as a whole and trying to just flick a switch, like change something in your footer and then be like, oh, I hope this change in my footer is going to make my entire site increase in rankings. That doesn't usually work unless you actually have something wrong with your footer. But in 99.99% of the cases, like that just doesn't work. Most of the time, start with one page as a focus, start building links, start ranking that one page, and then move from there. That's really the best way to approach increasing traffic to an entire site. So you start with, it's ironic, you want to start increase the traffic to the entire site, but you got to start with one page and focus on that one page first. Cool. Scale from there. Finally, I always get this, like, how do I make getting links easier? So links is an art, but there's actually formulas, there's tactics. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I teach inside Traffic Research on exactly how to get links. I show you all my favorite techniques, tricks, and like step-by-step things that you could just go out and repeat what I do and get yourself some good links. Now, getting good links is supposed to be hard. If it was just easy, then everyone would do it. All the competitors would just get links, and then links wouldn't matter anymore, and everyone would kind of be on the same level. What distinguishes you on Google is the fact that you got better links than your competition, and therefore just by thinking about it, like, links are not supposed to be really easy to get. In fact, usually if a link is too easy to get, it's typically not a good link. A link that is a bit harder to get, or you need to work smarter, which is how I teach it and how I show, those are going to be the good ones. Or if the other alternative is sometimes you could just pay people to get your links, and those are typically going to be the slightly more expensive links. So those are going to be typically the links that you want are going to be the ones that you want to work for. Now, it actually gets a lot easier. Remember our example that I just talked about where you get to reinvest back into your business? When you have a small budget, when you start growing a website and you got a little budget, if you could allocate this budget in a smart way, you could get a huge amount of leverage from it. You don't need to spend thousands. You don't need to spend hundreds of thousands to get links and to get traction and get moving. You just need to spend the money at the right place. Maybe you're just you want to post one of your articles on a giant industry site, but they don't want to post it. But then you offer $40 so the guy will just post your article. So you've written the article and you just say, hey, can I offer you $40 just to feature it here? And then he'll say yes. And then you get yourself a giant link because you wrote that article, you got it featured on a niche site. Or you've negotiated some like a link on someone's site, and you've just had a back and forth via email, or you talk to them over Instagram or Facebook or wherever you want to talk to them. That is a way to leverage funds and basically get yourself some exposure. Sometimes you will do some little viral things where you'll get someone to create maybe do an Instagram post or create something for you that will get you a bit more exposure, and that will be a way of getting yourself out there and using your assets to basically leverage you. So getting links in an easier fashion is basically facilitated by using money most of the time, or connections. So the other really easy way of getting links is you go and meet people in your industry. If you go to a conference in your industry, or you go or anywhere in your industry, you will connect and talk to people. And once you have relationships with people, getting links gets easy. You know how easy it is for me to get links in the SEO industry? It is. I just need to talk to my friend. I could literally call someone up and say, hey, how's it going? Can I write something on your site? He's going to say yes. Like, I don't need to pay him anything. I don't need to do anything. Or if I want, I can just be like, hey, let's do a bunch of interviews. And I can just do a bunch of interviews, get a bunch of links. I could make a video and give it to someone. Like, there's so many easy ways of doing it once you're inside the industry and you know people within the industry. So that's going to be the other way of just basically going on Easy Street. Either get yourself inside the industry, make some contacts, or basically get a budget where you could allocate X amount to basically start getting a bunch of links. So those are going to be kind of like the two easiest ways of basically facilitating links. Otherwise, if you're brand new to the industry, that's cool. You could also get really good links. You just need to work a little harder, get yourself in either as a contributor, or you basically need to have an angle, have some content that you're presenting that is going to be unique and attractive to a lot of people to get yourself a ton of really good and relatively easy links. If ever you want link techniques or ideas or step-by-step methods on how to get like really good links, where I break the things down in like step 1, step 2, step 3, Traffic Research is a great place to get a mega ton of links. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Like this video, subscribe for more. My name's Eric Lantris. Here have been a ton of like best practices, what you should need to avoid, what you need to do on Google. And I hope you guys like this. I will see you in the next video.